Good morning. It's Bradley McCalister of Spirocraft, and today we have a special treat. Very special treat. Special to me. This is my father, Billy McCalister. He's here. They've been cat sitting for us while we were out of town. So I said, hey, Dad, come out, join me for Monday Methods today. And he's here. We running a couple minutes late because a few extra things to do. Say something there, Dad. Say hello.
I was going to say that now I understand why he runs a couple of minutes late. You ought to see this operation in here. it needs another person for sure. My voice used to be like his until I got old, and it's changed quite a bit, so it's not quite as strong, but people used to get us mixed up. When the phone would ring, they want to know which one we're talking to. Now it's not a problem.
That's true. That's true. We did used to sound the same on the phone. Let's see who's in here. Good morning, Joe and Brian. Chris is in here. Lan, good morning. Appreciate you all coming by. Like I say, I got in late last night. Hey, Corey. And we just got her set up. Like I said, Pop's here. The first program, or first thing I'm going to do today is work on this piece of poplar that I've got here and make a little platter, a little platter slash plate. And then we're going to get Dad to turn after a bit. I've got another one of these hybrid bottle stopper blanks, and it's already got the threads in it and everything. And so Dad's going to do a little turning for us. So Dad, by the way, is 84 years young, as they like to say. And you've been turning what, about 40 years?
Yeah.
Give or take. So Dad's going to turn a little bit on this later on after we play with this platter. So he's going to make a little hybrid bottle stopper. He hadn't lost the touch. We get him up here and make him sweat a little bit. I mean, you're only live to the world. You know, it's no big deal.
I'm not bashful.
No, that's a good thing.
The only thing I insisted on was a stool to sit on.
So we're going to have a lot of fun. It's interesting today. It is muggy and 70 degrees. The front came through with the rain shower, and it's going to turn cold. I've actually got the air conditioning running now, and I probably want to turn the heat on before we're done. One of those days in South Georgia where you just don't know what you're going to be getting. Anyway, so this piece of poplar, I'll pop it back off of here real quick, poplar is one of my favorites for coloring because it's very light. You can see a lot of the white in it. This one has some brown green to it. It takes color really well. Now, since my dad is here, and I'm going to put him on the spot and call him out, Dad is my bandsaw man. And as you can see, this piece is cut perfectly round.
I didn't cut that.
On the bandsaw. So we'll true this guy up a little bit. I don't know how old this is. I know it's dry. But we'll clean this up, and we'll make a little platter out of it. I had to give my dad a hard time. You know, I don't get to see him, especially here in the last, 6 months, 7 months since March. You know, I haven't been able to visit a lot, so I got to give him a hard time when I get to see him. So what I wanted to show you on this, you can see, if I go to end camera, just how out of round this is, all right? Now, there's a couple of ways that I could go about this. I could just start turning it here and knock it into round. The other thing I wanted to show you today is one of the techniques I use where I'll take a tool and I'll turn it here on the end. I'll look at the ghost pattern, and if we turn the lathe on, you can see this ghost pattern. Now, like I say, here you can see my finger behind the wood. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a tool. Now this face isn't flat either, so we've got some truing up to do. But I want to define the actual diameter that I've got to work with. And if I look at the ghost pattern in the overhead for you, you can see here, get my fingers there, just how much that's out. So I want to find out where I'm going to be in my roundness and get that true. And you can see how this is pretty out of true here. So we've got some work to do to get this guy to turn. Now it's shaking a little bit here at 500. It's on a faceplate with 1-inch screws in it. And there's about 575. Not shaking too bad. So that's where we're going to start. Not anything too fast. Okay? So that's the general plan. This will be a thin piece as it gets made up. And again, Poplar is one of my favorites. It's really easy to turn. And another thing, I'm so happy to announce is I got a good bad story. The new face masks that I've been talking about forever, the Jackson Safety with the flip-up face shield, I finally have them available. I brought some in a week ago, and I already sold out. So I have another batch on order right now. They're not supposed to be here. They're really hard to get. It looks like it's going to be about 2 weeks, maybe the first of the year. But these things are great because it's just like the original style. It looks exactly the same. I hid that other one somewhere, wherever I put it. Except that now
Hanging right over there.
they flip up.
You're right.
So if you need to do something, say you need to have a sip of water or your drink, and I was thinking about this earlier, if you want to run a heavy-duty respirator without having to take your face mask all the way off or trying to get it up underneath your other style shield, you can put on, your organic cartridge filter respirator with your face shield up. And then when you take it off, well, you can flip it back down when you need to turn without ever taking it off of your head. This thing is super lightweight, super comfortable. And they're in the store, and it will show back on back order, but they're $24.95. And I have been waiting for almost a year to get these. And so I'm super happy about getting this in now. So we've got them, but we're out of stock already. More on the way. Jump in there, order them, get in line, and they'll pop right up. Hopefully we should have them by Christmas or right around there. So I'll be wearing this today. And then because of all our wonderful COVID virus and stuff, since I just put that one on, Dad's going to wear the one that we're going to find here after a bit.
Right up there.
There it is. So that he won't be using the same one that I'm wearing, because I was just at Universal Studios for the last week. It was amazing. Quick talk about COVID. At Universal, I have not been cleaner, more sanitized than I have been anywhere since this COVID stuff came out. You get your temperature checked everywhere you go. You get hand sanitized, getting in the line for a ride, partway to the ride, before you get on the ride, when you get off the ride, anything you touch your hands have been sanitized. There are people just continually wiping down all the rails and all that good stuff. Everything is super clean. The lines are spaced out dramatically, staggered in the lines. When you're standing in line to get on a ride, it's safer than going to the grocery store, to the Walmart, to the box store by a long shot. Had a great time. I wish I was still there laying around in the resort, but we had to come back to work. So that's that story on that. So that's why, and I only had one more of these for me to wear today. So I decided I'd wear it and put Dad in the old school.
The adjustment on the new one is much, much better.
Yeah, it's got a better strap on it too. Yeah. Okay, so just in the name of safety, we're going to pull tailstock up here. And I don't know what I'll do, if I'll do color to this or not today. We'll just see how it goes. Again, this is, as you can guess, I got in last night, so kind of a fast and loose today, just to have fun out here with my dad. I haven't turned with my dad in 6 years, maybe 8 years. We used to turn together at the shop up in North Georgia. And then I got married and moved down here, and that kind of changed. So it's been a long time since I got to hang out with Dad in the shop. We used to turn literally right across from each other. The shop is pretty big, and we had two lathes that faced each other, and we had a wall right down the middle. Well, it's still there. A wall, half wall with a screen on top, so we couldn't hit each other with flying projectiles off the lathe, but we were basically looked at each other across the way, and it was great. Good morning, Mary Alice. Thanks for popping in. As you can see, I have my special guest today. My dad is here. So anyway, let's start to play with this piece of Poplar. And I'm going to I'm a little bit torn what I want to do, if I want to make a little bit of flat, if I just want to find what's round. I think I'm going to go for what's round first. And even though this is negative rake, let's see through the tools here. I'll just take. I could use anything. I'll still use this negative rake. I just want to outline what the actual diameter of this is so I can see what I'm working with. So I'll pop on my face shield here real quick. Say, I didn't think I was going to need the air out here today, so I didn't turn it on. It's a little stuffy out here, and I don't have the fan on. And I want to go to the end camera for you. And we're just going to find the actual true diameter of what we've got to work with here today. So that's going to be the first thing, because there's a number of ways that we can true a piece up. And I'm not a believer in there's only one way to do something, so I'll like to show you different ways sometimes, from time to time. So I'm finding the center axis of the lathe right here. Always turn it, like I say, this piece is out this way as well, so always turn it by hand. Make sure everything is all nice and snug. Make sure the tailstock, as I moved it, is in place. Controls are up on the lathe. There's my 500 RPMs. So again, you can see how out of round that is. So I want to identify this, and I'm looking at the ghost image, and I believe, and I'll stop and check this, and I do this with a piece, if I'm making say when I'm returning a bowl, I'll do exactly the same thing. So you can see that I'm cutting wood here, but I'm not quite cutting wood there. And this would cut, but I didn't go that far just because it's, out of flat. But this is how I determine when I don't think I have a bowl sample, a piece of sample around here. When I've rough turned a bowl and it's oval, and if I'm wondering whether or not I left enough wood to not turn through the sides, because you need to leave 10%. I'll do this just to double check the thickness of what the wall is going to be. Okay? And that'd be your phone going off, Dad. I can't talk. I left mine on too over there. So we're going to go a little bit closer in here. And let me get back to that overhead camera. End camera, excuse me. Take another quick look. I think so you can see this is going to be dramatically smaller. We're going to lose an inch and a quarter of material right there on this piece. Something like that. Get a little bit deeper in. I think my circle's almost all the way completed. No, it's a long way out, but I know that that's going to work. So that gives me an idea. It looks like this thing should be more like about 10 inches or so in diameter once it gets turned. All right. So now I have a choice. What tools do I want to use? Do I want to come from the end, right off the end here, or do I want to come from the side? I didn't want to cut a whole lot of this and have this loose wood that's going to fly. But what I think I'm going to do is kind of come in at it at an angle today, because it is pretty far out around. All right, and so I want to kind of take a lighter cut, and I'm going to grab a bowl gouge, grab a 5/8 Carter & Son bowl gouge, drop my tool rest down, make sure it doesn't hit. You see how it hits there. I did not sharpen any tools this morning. We just ran out here. We had to drink coffee and socialize this morning before Mom and Dad go home tomorrow. And I'm just going to start to take this corner off, kind of throw these chips over at my dad. Actually, what I'm going to do is go the other way so I don't throw the chips at my dad.
Very good.
You like that, Dad? And I'll go to the overhead camera. Of course, so now I'm staring into a spotlight. Move my tool rest in a little bit closer. And I'm really just kind of working with the tip. And I'm going to go ahead and give myself a little more speed now. I'll get a cleaner, better cut. And see, I'm not getting any vibration. Looks pretty good. I kind of fog it up because it's so humid in here today. So I'm just lifting up my goggles for a second, let them clear out. And that overhead camera, yeah, that's in focus. Okay. So now I let that bevel start to come into play. You see I pick up the cut with the wing just a little bit, about 1 o'clock. It's a little bumpy out here, so I lightened up the cut. Good thing we went the other way with that, huh? Mm-hmm. And that looks pretty good. We just took that. You can see that line that we were cutting before. Doesn't look like so far that there's any splits in this. Okay, so we've got it round. Now we want to go ahead and true up the face. So let's go back to the end camera. Get one face true here. And I'll just draw across the face. And I'm going to defog again for a second here, because it is muggy in here today. Let my goggles clear. So I'll just draw across the face with the tool, and we'll flatten out this front side. Then we'll go back around the back, flatten out the back side. Let's see. Keith Marshall coming in from Texas. Good morning. Appreciate you coming in. Fred, I haven't seen you in a long time. How you doing? All right, let's clean up the face of this. Just draw across lightly with the wing of the tool. Can't help but throw a few chips on you there.
I guess you're going to have to drill some holes in that knife too.
Yeah, I haven't drilled the holes in this one yet. And so other than just a little bit of a divot right there, that's clean on our back side. I'm going to switch around to the inside. And I'll go to the overhead for you. We'll do the same thing on the other side. Go to the overhead. Make sure nothing's hitting. This is just to get it more in balance. So now we're in balance. Everything is turning smoothly. And like I say, you can see, let's say here, you know, I left that little section. I'm not one who makes it everything perfect and then I start to shape. I like to go ahead and get the piece just close, because I know that I'm going to turn this corner away. And I don't really want to spend the extra time just making it nice and smooth everywhere, and then shape it. You know, I'm just trying to save myself a few steps. And Don Faulkner's in here. Good morning from Michigan. Good to see you away from the, get away from the piece that is way out of round, but not round shape. Back into round. It is back to round now. Absolutely. Okay, so I said I was going to make a platter out of this, and I think I will. Looks like it's about, again, maybe 10, 11 inches. So I think we might be able to make a platter. It's got a little flange on the top and then drops in, so we might be able to give it a little shape like that. Okay, so I'm going to bring my tool rest back around to the back corner, and I'll go to, I'll start you out on the overhead, then I'll switch you to the end camera. And I'll just start to shape this piece a little bit, get some more mass out of it. So you can see I'm leaving some material up here on the top. I want to leave a little thickness for my flange. If I do a wide flange there. Again, we're just roughing the shape, so I'm going to go to the end camera now so you can see as we come around. Now I think it's stable enough. I'm going to go ahead and take the tailstock away so we can get at this in a better fashion. Actually cut in the right direction, cutting from the inside out. Get my controller back over here. Yeah, I will have to drill some holes in this brand new one. Of course, my tool handle is hitting my controller, so I'm going to move it a little bit. Now, I'm going to take these goggles off for a second. I've always been kind of a tenon person. I could make a tenon or a recess on the end of this today. A lot of people would like to do the recesses, and you're all said and done when you make a recess. I just always liked tenons more. I always like to have the extra flexibility of if I wanted to make a base with it or something else in the future. And there's pros and cons to both, if whether you put a tenon on the end or a recess in here. Everybody has a preference. There's no right or wrong, just a matter of, I think, preference and how you want to go about things. So I still like to make a tenon. So I'm going to get my calipers out, which I didn't pull out. Get them out of my tool drawer here. And if I'm lucky, I'll find a tape measure. And I'll just make a 2 3/8 inch tenon, because I'll use the easy wood chuck with the 2 3/8 inch jaws. So I just check my outside calipers. I actually set them for around 2.5 to give myself a little bit of margin for error there. And I'm going to switch over to the Easy Wood tools. The square tool, their original rougher. See, my hair's looking good already because it's kind of hot out here. Put the bowl gouge up there. And we'll work out this tenon now, because now I'm ready to actually make my final shape on the back, but I want to know where my tenon is. I need to know where my bottom is and where my top is so I can work between the 2 points. In the beauty, I really like this guy because now I can talk to you and I'm not muffled, but I just flip up my visor. I do need to drill the holes in here to get a little extra air. And let me go to the end camera for you. Check and see if I'm at center. I'm a little bit low. Bring that guy up. Mark Thompson, how you doing? You see I got a special guest in here this morning, Mark? Pop's making sure I'm doing it right. I was saying earlier, he's going to make a little bottle stopper when I get done here today. He'll have his go at the lathe. We'll get him set up. A little teeny bit more. We're playing with a little piece of poplar here today. So I'm just going to flatten this off, and I'm using the tool sideways. Because with the carbide cutters, you can go all the way around. So my flat is just about the right size for my tenon. So I'll just take and make a light cut. This is kind of standard procedure for me, like so. And I'll check that diameter and I'll go, that's just about right. It might be a fuzz big. And that, I'm happy with that. It gives me a little bit of crush because this wood is a little bit soft. Now I can come back in with my bowl gouge and take away some of this extra wood. The only thing about changing between conventional and carbide, you have to raise your tool rest up and down sometimes. So I'm going to get rid of some of this extra wood. With the bowl gouge, be much faster. Just drop in and draw it out. Drop in and draw it out. I just need 3/8 of an inch. And the reason I like to use the carbide tool is that this carbide cutter length matches the jaws of the chuck. So that's all I really need to make sure that my tenon is the right length. So I just cut to the back corner there of the cutter. And I can also come laterally again if I want to. I also want to make sure that it's slightly concave, and we'll check this with the tool shaft. And I've still got a little bit more to go, but I'll make one more pass instead of changing. I'm getting a vibration when I try and cut straight in, and it'll work. It just makes a lot of noise. Okay, that's good. Now I'll grab a detail tool, put a little dovetail on here. Which camera am I on? I'm on the end camera. I'll go back to the overhead. Let's see, can you see that in the overhead? You can, as soon as my glasses unfog here.
I think you're on the end.
I know I'm on the end. Yeah, you can see there's a little bit of a shadow in there. But you'll see it cutting the dovetail in there. So about a 10-degree dovetail. Mark the center in case I ever needed to line that back up again. Okay. Now I know where, I'll go back to the end. So I've got my tenon made. I've got my flat recess here. Now I can shape all I want to between this point and up here. Now I want to leave this flat. This is where my flange is going to be for the piece. So I'm going to start to shape, and I'm actually going to switch over to a smaller gouge if I can find my little gouge here. A little disorganized. Not that that's anything new. Where did I put it? Where did I put the smaller one? Don't know where I put it. It's got to be here somewhere. Can't go that far away. That's a mystery.
It's not that one over there, is it?
No, that's the bigger one. That's the 5/8. I'm looking for the 3/8. Or the 1/2 inch. I must have put it somewhere else. You just never know where I put stuff. And if I don't know, I'm in trouble. And I'm sure I'm staring right at it on this rack full of tools. Oh well, I'll stay with what I got. We'll just adjust. Thank you, air conditioner, for kicking on again. I want to make sure I leave this nice and flat right in here, but before that, you know, I can take all this away. And I'm kind of thinking about what do I want to do with the shape, and sometimes I'll even cut the wrong direction just to make my shape easier, and then I'll come back and clean it up. Now, if I was using a carbide round tool, and let me switch for a second because I like to show you both ways of going about things. It wouldn't matter where I was working, which direction I was working with my tool, because I can see very easily. And now in the overhead, you should be able to see this shape starting to develop. But I like to, you know, I want to have a nice little base here, not super big, not super small. But I want to leave a flat section for my jaws to rest on. Okay. Have to defog again here real quick. Yeah, I should let Dad run the show today. What do you think, Dad?
I don't think
You want to run the show?
I can't fly a 747.
I'm so glad you're out here. It's fun. Again, I still want to find, well, I'll go with my other little 1/4 inch if I can't find. I don't know what I did with this tool.
It could be you've got too many tools.
Oh, I know I've got too many tools. That's a given. And I had everything torn apart around here when I was doing the insulation, so I may have put them somewhere else. There's one in particular I'm looking for, and I'm just not finding it. We'll just go with this little guy. And I am in the overhead camera. And I'm going to start making my finish cuts now. Again, these are the Carter & Son tools. The M42 high-speed steel. They stay sharp for a long time. I'm getting a little vibration out here on the very end, and I'll show you the overhead on that. So I've got a nice clean cut across the whole bottom here. I mean, that's this out to here. It's a great cut. I'm not sure why I'm getting that vibration out there, but I'm really happy with that finish. There's no torn grain there or anything else. So I just need to finish this cut. I'm going to drop that tool rest down just a fuzz. What's this that Mark says, one can never have too many tools? Well, you can't have too many, but you can have too many in one place when you can't find what you're hunting for. So I'm going to make one more pass across here, one more very light pass. I'll probably mess it up, but I'm just going to make one more light, clean pass across here. Okay, and that's That is just what I want right there. Now the very outer edge still needs a little work, but I'm happy with this. All right, so there goes my voice. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn this around now, take it off the faceplate, put it into the chuck, and we'll move along from there. Do. Hopefully I didn't put it on there too tight this morning in a hurry. Oh, there we go. And I was trying to think about what did I want to do. Did I want to try and color this today or not? We'll see how the time goes. I'm not really prepared enough for that. Of course, that doesn't really come as any surprise either, does it? Somebody told me I was the king of wing it, and sometimes I don't have a problem with that. I enjoy the little extra challenge. Like from the woodworking shows, which on the woodworking shows, a special note there, it is official announcement came out over the weekend. The woodworking show's first 4 shows in 2021 will be virtual shows. They'll begin the first week of February, first weekend in February. And the last I spoke with them, we'll do 4 virtual shows and reassess the potential of openings for live shows after that. So that's where it stands right now. That's the latest word right from the woodworking shows. The first 4 shows will be virtual in the month of February, and they'll be assessing the possibility of live shows if things can open up after that. So stay tuned, to the Woodworking Show's website, to the Spidercraft events page. We're going to start getting all that kind of information on there and start working up the shows and the classes, the offerings that Spidercraft will be doing, and what I'll be teaching, and our product offerings for the shows and the whole bit. So we're looking forward to that. It's finally, we have a plan to move forward with the woodworking shows in a fashion. So that's a great thing. It really makes me happy to know we got something coming together. So I'm going to go with the Easy Wood chuck here this morning because that's what I turned the jaws for. I do have to change the jaws. I don't know what. I was doing bottle stoppers before. So we'll pop these guys out. So now I've got my handy toolbox over here that's almost organized, not completely, but I'm working on it. I don't have to root too much for root around too much for things. Of course, this may be the one I got the resin on. May have to pop that one jaw a little bit to get it out of there. I slung a little resin or CA glue around last week when I was playing with these jaws. I think I glued it on there. Sure enough. Nothing new for me. As long as the other jaw goes back in, we'll be all good. Let's see what happens here. Oh yeah. A little resin, little CA glue on the chuck, never hurt anything. I clean them up once a year, whether they need it or not. Open this guy up just a fuzz. So, Mary Alice, if you're still here listening, I enjoyed the pottery, the polymer clay pottery demonstration that Peg Schmidt did last week before I hit the road. I've got some ideas to play with that. I'm curious, have you ever done any of that before? It looks like it's kind of fun and lots of opportunities. So I think I'll get some polymer clay, and I'll actually kind of learn how to use it before I do a session out here. But I think it's going to come to Monday Methods. I'm going to bring a polymer clay session out here to Monday Methods. Once I played with it a little bit, looks pretty fun. Not particularly overly difficult from what I saw in Peg's demonstration. So I think that was something to look forward to.
Peg's done a lot of it. She makes it look easy.
She does make it look easy. And, you know, I may be opening a can of worms and not know it. Okay. So, in the overhead, you can see now we've got it turned around. And here's my bottom profile, and I like that. That's just fine. I want to run, I'll true up this edge, clean this up, and think about how thick I want to make this. Start to take some inside out of the middle. So, Marius, you haven't done any of it yet, but you know some friends who know how to use it. I find it interesting with all the colors and the infinite possibilities of things that you can do. So I think that's going to be something that's going to be fun to look at and play with. Right, let's leave it on the overhead, I believe. And I'm going to clean up this edge. Shouldn't be hitting anything. Running nice and true. So I could, you know, I left this fairly thick, so I could actually do something here if I wanted to. If I had half a chance of knowing where maybe my beading tool was, or I might just put a little bead on this anyway. I got a D-way beading tool somewhere in here, but I think I might, let's play with this a little bit. Let's let me get a different tool here for a second. Do. I'm just kind of winging on this as I go, thinking about something that might look interesting. And see, I still got you in the overhead there, yeah, so you can see. We'll get this balanced up here. Again, I'm leaving this flat right here on purpose. And I've got out on the back side of here, I've got a black top that I'm looking at. I've got two completely different profiles going on here. But we'll fix that. So I'm actually just looking straight into this. I'll go show you here. While I'm working on this profile, I'm just looking right up here at these two profiles and to make them match. They're pretty close. That's pretty doggone close. Got a little fuzz right there. We'll just take that off. Okay. So that gives us, just a little relief here. Again, this could get you, if you're a texturer, if you like to use texturing tools, you could come in here and texture on this. Anything you wanted to do in there. So just a nice little profile. If you want to do colors, like with the chroma gilts or the creams or accent paste, you could do something here again as well. All right, let's go to the end camera. Figure out what we want to do for the top of this guy. Get that power out of the way. Again, I want to leave a flat section right up in here. Just a little bit. And I'm going to say somewhere right in there, just for starters. And again, this is the, actually this is the 1/2 inch Carter & Son. It's not the 5/8. And I just start looking over. So I'm working here, but I'll start looking over, and I'm looking at how this matches up. So when I'll put my fingers in here and I'll look at the curves, the two profiles, as I look down into here, leaving my flat section there. Maria's in here. Good morning. Nice to see you. Okay, so I've got my general shape. My general shape is worked out. Pop this off for a minute again. I've got the general shape worked out. I don't want to take too much of the inside out just yet in here because I don't want to lose the strength that I need to work anymore out here on the outer edge. So I've just shaped this. I've set my parameters of where things are. Now, you know, I'll want to clean this up, take care of all my outer edge work before I take the rest of the wood away in here, because once I do, I'm more likely to get flex out here on the outer rim. So we'll figure out what we want to do here. And again, I don't have a plan for this one today, and I got to make sure I leave time for Dad. Looking at what time is it, 11:58, to make his bottle stopper out here for you guys. So I'm going to clean up this groove right in here. I see now that I'm defogged. I've got a little cleanup to do there. I'm going to clean up this face. That looks pretty good. I might clean up this groove. I've got a little bit of torn grain right in there. So I'll clean that up. Then I'll take the rest of the inside out of here. And that'll probably do the trick for this until it's time to... I may get out the texture tools. It's something I need to play with. I've got my whole Sorby texturing set. I don't use them a lot. I don't have a lot of time with them. It's something I want to get better at. And I've used them. I mean, I can make them work, but I don't know intuitively which tool and which cutter and which angle that I want to use to get a predetermined effect. So I need a little bit of time spent with that. So I think I may save this piece for something like that. But I like everything I've got going on here. But I want to go ahead and I'll clean this up a little bit, take out a little bit more of the inside, and leave it ready to decorate. As you can see, we're taking just real fine little shavings off of here. So let me come back around to here, and I'm going to get my favorite little 1/4 inch. It's an old Sorby 1/4 inch with... See if I can see that there. There you go. Got a kind of a traditional little grind, and it'll let me sweep through these, and it should clean them up really well. It's got a real short grind. The heel's ground away. Probably doesn't. Sometimes I have a micro bevel on the very, very tip. I don't think I have it there right now, but I'll use this to clean that up. Clean up those two coves in there. Get my controller back over here. And again, what are we turning here? We're turning about 1500, so we're clipping right along. See if we can make that turn there. And there I'm just rotating the tool. I'm not even moving the tool forward. Okay. And there's a little, that really takes out that torn grain. I got a little teeny bit right in there. I'm going to take one more shot at that because I did have a little bounce there. But in the very bottom of this cut is a combination of rotating it and trying not to drag the heel. A little bit more off of there. There we go. And then I just rotate the tool. And it looks like I'm actually dragging the heel. I'm gonna grind a little bit more of this heel away real quick. See if I can't make this turn. I finally got the grinder set up here where I can walk right over to it. Okay, so I just took a bunch of heel off of there. And let's see if we can't get this to rotate around. May have taken too much heel off. Got to take the goggles off to see. Okay, so that definitely took care of all the torn grain in that cove cut right there. So by taking off a little bit more heel, I was able to make that rotation. I say I do have a little bit of mark that may be from before. So you can always make one more cut, right? So we'll make one more cut, see if we can't make it perfectly clean where we don't have to sand. But if not, I'll stop there. Now I can cheat and change that profile a little bit. It'll make it easier. And that wood is hot. So I'm going to adjust this profile on the top as well. I'm after that elusive, doesn't need any sanding cut here. Okay, it's all clean. There's a little, there's no torn grain. Just take a little bit of light sanding to clean that up. So let's come over here and clean this up. And I am going to change this profile just a little bit so that it matches or gets close to matching. Ease that edge off just a little bit. All right. Again, just rotate the tool. I'm not even pushing it forward at that point. I'm just rotating the tool right around in the center of that cove. Okay, and that is now nice and clean. There's no tear out on it. I got a little bit right up here on this very edge where I stopped the cut. We can take that away with a little shear scrape of the wing, just a light touch. I mean, it would sand right off as well. We can just do that. That cleans that right up. Okay, so let's clean up our face here. Get everything reorchestrated, and then we're going to call this guy ready to be decorated. Do-do-do-do. I do like to work with small tools sometimes, you know, smaller than the bigger, if I'm not too far over the tool rest. So that cleaned up really nice. That edge right there's needs just a little bit of work. This poplar, I don't know, poplar is so underrated if you ask me. I always liked poplar. Lighten up just a little bit right there. So that's getting a very nice clean cut. Real nice. Now I can go deeper. Let me get goggles off here. Let me think about what I want to do. I mean, it's respectable. I think I'll take a couple more passes in here just to clean that up. I love the grain coming through here. When this piece, I've got some ideas for color up here on, but I couldn't find it this morning. I'm going to take some artist tape. It's like 1/8 inch tape. It's flexible. And I think I'm going to do some patterns on this top rim and when I spray the color. So I've got some ideas. But I'm going to take a little bit more out of the inside. Since I'm using a small tool, I'm going to move that tool rest in closer so that I get less vibration. I'm going to get my controller out of my way. And this is, I mean, I got a ton of wood here. This is the perfect place to practice these finished cuts. So, you know, I could go grab a bigger gouge and take a 1/4 inch out of here. But if I want to practice these finished cuts, this is the place to do it. Because you can make them over and over. And that's one of the things I like to encourage people is if you've got the extra wood to work with, and again, I still got a 1/2 inch of wood in thickness here. So if I just want to practice making these real light, clean, fine finish cuts on the inside of this piece, I can do this multiple times because you can't practice the last cut. You practice every cut up to that, and this tool's getting hot, but you can't practice that last one. Okay. A little bit of bounce right in the very last inch or so. And I'm going to defog and look at this profile. As I get deeper, the tool has to rotate more. So I'm going to switch back to that little short profile gouge. You know, they're referring to them as bottom feeders these days. When you have the bottom ground away on a standard, traditional grind, Mike Mahoney's tool with Carter and Son, he calls it his bottom feeder, and it's a full-size gouge, but it's got this same kind of profile to it. Take a little bit more. I'm just kind of having fun now. I did take pretty much all the support away when I ground all the bevel away. And it's kind of funny because I don't sure if I have a line or if it's just a shadow that I'm looking at back up on the wall here. So I kind of made a little vertical wall right here. And if you can see that shadow line or not. And, you know, it's kind of funny how sometimes when you're playing around, so maybe I use this vertical, you can see it over here. So I've created a profile, and I didn't do it intentionally, but it kind of works with this band here. So maybe I do something with this band when I change that profile, when I change tools, and make that part of the piece. It has a bit of a vertical wall, even though it's not straight up and down, and then we sweep into the curve across the bottom. So lots of possibilities, even on a little 10-inch, 12-inch, whatever this thing is. Let me see. I'm just kind of curious if yeah, it's 10-inch. It's right at 10, 9 7/8. 15/16. So, and again, there's still plenty of wood in here, so you could keep working with this and playing with it. Hey, Jeff Peters, you made it. I got my dad in here today, Jeff. You can keep playing with it, changing it, altering it again. You know, this was not an expensive piece of wood to work with, and it turns, Poplar turns easy. So it's kind of like skiing hero snow. It makes you feel like you're really good because it turns and cuts so easily. So I'm going to take this off of the lathe now, I think, so that my dad can make a bottle stopper for you guys, and I can sit back and watch. So let me pop that back up to the screen. There, I'm all dusty. And I'll put this guy off into the box with all the others.
Now I'm going to put a figure tool on it.
I'm not going to today. So here is an overhead of it. I'm zoomed in pretty tight, but you can see the pretty grain in here. And there's that vertical wall that I was talking about. So it gives it another dimension if you want it from a decorative standpoint, if you wanted to add something into that. You can see I got a few tool marks down in there when I was playing around. There's our outer profile. Again, I'm zoomed in pretty tight right there. So lots of things that you could do with this. And if I switch over to the end camera now, so that you can see, again, fun grain. Now, when you get the poplar that's all white like this is, then you really have a nice white blank canvas to work with. This has the green tint to it, which is common. It works well when if you dye with the yellows and greens, then this really just enhances the dyes and things like that. Again, the profile from, you can see, can't quite see too much there in the light on the end, but the inside, and you can see the little wall. I'm trying to get the shadows to hit it right for you. And so that vertical wall makes an interesting shadow relief. So there's something there to be played with. So fun little piece, super simple, easy to work with. Poplar sand's great. So if you didn't have a perfect tool cut, and that's poplar, and my other favorite wood is aspen, and they're actually really soft, and it actually kind of makes it hard because if the heel rubs at all, you'll get an indentation because the wood is so soft. But also it sands super easy and super quick. And you can take care of that stuff. But it's great wood to practice that tool control and the super fine cuts on. So I'm always happy to turn poplar. And I need to buy some more green wood for next year. I'm almost out of my sycamore finally, which is not green anymore anyway. And when I go to North Georgia, I may go looking for another big old poplar log because I have a ball turning this stuff. So I had a ball right there. I'm going to get my dad set up here. You ready to turn a little bottle stopper?
We don't have our window.
You don't have your window? What do you mean you don't have your window?
There's no window there.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, okay.
The window's there. You got your window. See yourself on...
Oh, yeah.
You haven't been watching that screen?
I'll watch
I'll get him up to speed by the time he's done here. So, you guys, if you came in later, this is my dad, Mr. Billy McCalister. He's the one who gave me my first wood turning tool and said it goes like this, and if it catches, that's part of it. Have at it. That was my first lesson, approximately.
Yeah.
But what he's going to turn today is, we were working last week on bottle stoppers, and I was working on one that looked like this. And so we've got a second blank right here already mounted up. It's got the brass insert in it. And we'll get Pop here set up. Oh, I was showing you on the wrong camera. This is what we were turning. I was turning last week. I was looking at the right camera, but I hadn't changed it. And so here's the blank. It's already set up. It's got the brass insert in it. It's a hybrid. It's a resin and who knows what kind of wood. So we'll get the chuck off of here. And I got a bunch of stoppers over there, so we can, when you finish this up, if you want to we can thread a stopper in it. You can take this one home with you today. Just in time for the holidays. So does anybody have any kind of questions for me regarding the working with the poplar and the platter like that I made there, and what I did, how I did it, any of those kind of things? I got to reach around here and get a pair of pliers out of my drawer, the infamous drawer that's going to get cleaned up one of these days. Keep those right out there. Get you threaded on here. So I'm going to set Dad up with the EasyWood Tools negative rake carbide cutters. And he's all mic'd up. Has been. I hope you've been able to hear him. Let me know if you don't hear him. We'll adjust as we need to. There's the basics, Dad, and I'm going to let you take over. Now here, I'm going to show you what you got to work with, just so you know. Here is a mid-size round in negative rake. And I'm going to set these up here for you. That out of the way.
That's a 5 cutter.
Here's a number 1 hollower.
3 cutter. Okay.
Number 1 with a negative rake. I think you've got one of these. This tool. Got that. And then we've got 3 micros with the negative rake CI5, the negative rake CI7, and the negative rake radius square. So that's your tool arsenal. Your controls. I don't think he's ever been on this lathe before. Here's your speed, here's your stop, here's your go. Speed shows here. And let's check and make sure. I think I'm going to adjust. I need to adjust the camera for you guys so this stopper shows. So let me make a quick adjustment here as we change things over. I will put you on the number 2 end camera while I adjust the overhead camera. I have to get a stool out. Set change, as they say. We'll make a quick set change here. And Dad, you got the luxury of having somebody else run the camera buttons for you.
That's good. That little room next door looks an awful lot like an airplane.
Oh, the control room?
Control panel.
Okay. And what I want to do, I'm going to change this camera real quick. Which one am I on? I'm on the end. I'm going to actually reset this camera to get it closer in there. So like I say, we'll just have a quick set change here. It won't take but a second. Get him all dialed in. So you can see this stopper right up close. Just a little bit, or kind of tough to adjust when you're zoomed in and get it right where you want it. That's not bad. Not perfect, but it's not bad. Go out just a fuzz. You guys would be getting dizzy if you were watching this. And then we'll lock our focus in. Like that. And we'll make a slight adjustment here. Go the other way. There we go. On that one. Hey guys, I'm not used to having a second turner in the studio and making a big change on projects. So now I'm going to show you the overhead, which we've got going there, while I adjust the end camera to get in a little bit closer. And we'll have you all dialed in, Pop. Just reset this real quick. So when you started turning, Dad, what were you making?
Lighthouses.
Making lighthouses.
Because they were all conical shaped, other than one or two. I couldn't make Sullivan's down here in South Carolina, which is the newest lighthouse. It's the only one in the nation or world, as far as I know, that has an elevator. You don't have to climb stairs.
Really? Okay, I think I got you all zoomed in on everything. Put you back up on the front camera there. You did figure out where the camera was, didn't you?
Yeah.
That big black thing in the middle between those big monitors.
Okay.
Folks, my dad, Billy McCalister.
Okay. All right. We'll give it a try. I haven't done anything in over a year. When I fell off a ladder and broke several ribs and kind of a concussion, and then come January I fell down the stairs in the house and broke 9 ribs, punctured a lung, messed up a hip and a hand, and I just haven't done anything since. But it'll come back.
And you don't have to worry about changing cameras. I'll change the cameras for you, Dad.
That's good. Because you got too many buttons here.
This, like I say, this is a real honor for me to have Dad out here turning and
Okay.
on the live stream. It's first, and I'll be sure and keep this one. I do record all these. They're being recorded on the computer. This being this running everything, so I have a separate recording complete, which is always cool. Have you turned hybrid piece before, Dad? Resin and
No.
wood? This wood is, whatever it is been stabilized, I do believe, so it's really hard, so it turns about like the resin does. And I will give you a heads up, it is hard as a rock.
It's probably pecan then.
I didn't do it. I don't know who did it. It came in that box of scraps that fella gave me. But it is hard, I'll just tell you that.
Let's see what happens. We're at about 1700. And it looks like candy, something you could eat. Now you have to remember, I'm not the turner he is. I showed him his first bit and second bit, and now he's way ahead of me. I'm trying to learn from him.
Well, I had to start somewhere.
That was in Colorado too, I think.
That was. It was out in Colorado.
Am I a little high?
It looks like you're right about at center. You might be a fuzz high.
That stuff is hard.
Yeah, I told you it's hard as a rock.
Got a lot of ghost right back in here.
You may want to switch to the red handle micro. That cutter might be newer. If you do, be sure that you rotate your tool rest around because you don't have much overhang with those.
Oh, you don't?
Because it's such a small tool.
Yeah, that's true.
But it may be sharper. So also, my dad used to turn, my brother had properties out in Colorado, and he used to turn reproduction porch spindles and stair spindles and things like that for my brother at his houses out there. And you did a lot of that, didn't you?
I did, and I did some of the, reproduction work for antique furniture for the people that had the opera house.
Oh, okay. So you worked on opera house stuff too. So when I watched my dad turning before I started, he was always pretty much spindle turning, and that just bored me to tears, and I had no interest. But then once I got a hold of a bowl gouge and did my first turn with a bowl gouge, well, then I was hooked.
Yeah. And the rest of you probably know what that's about. It's really easy to get hooked.
Now, if you want a tailstock up there, we can put it up.
No. This has got to be really exciting for you guys.
Well, yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Give you an overhead stuff. Take a look at it.
Oh, it's not flat yet. Not round yet.
So you still got a flat there to get rid of.
Yep. That sure does look like something good to eat, though.
Good to eat. The red and the yellow.
Yep. It's not too fast for that, is it?
Well, it's turning 17. There's just vibration in the threads on the mandrel.
This is really hard stuff.
I told you it was hard. It's harder than you think. I mean, it's like a rock.
What's that stuff from out in Texas?
Mesquite?
Mesquite. Looks a lot like mesquite.
So again, it's
Getting hot.
It's great fun for me to have my dad out here today, joining me in Monday Methods and turning. It's a wonderful thing. We'll give him an end camera shot there, Dad.
Okay. So that was stabilized before they poured it too, then.
Yeah, so you stabilize the wood first, then you cast it. And stabilizing resin is quite hard. My dad used to, I don't know if he hasn't done it in a little while, he'd do a big holiday stuff and turn up a bunch of pieces to sell at the Holiday Bazaar, Christmas Bazaar in Jasper, where you live. Didn't you used to do that?
Yep.
They didn't do it this year though, did they?
Uh-uh.
Because of all the shutdowns and all that stuff. That piece is looking good.
Yeah, you hate for make that stuff go away, don't you?
Yeah.
The color.
Yeah, sometimes it hurts to turn away something pretty to get the right shape the shape that you're after.
I wasn't getting after too much of a shape. I wanted to save as much of that as I could.
Sure, keep that flat now.
This is harder to keep flat than the
It
big
is
guys.
because it's so small. Lift the handle up a little bit. The negative rate cutters are not as aggressive, which is why they don't chip out the resin.
Right.
But they also cut a little slower on the softer wood. And again, I've run these cutters on this stuff already, so they're not brand fresh new. What we might do for you, let's stop and rotate that cutter for you, Dad. Because I think it's on the original setting. So we'll rotate it and see if we get you a fresher edge. Because I think it's on its original rotation, original setting.
Oh, okay.
So we'll turn this cutter 180 degrees. Yeah, you can tell it's hard because this tool is hot.
Yes.
See, on these little teeny cutters, and I'll show you guys in the overhead, they're so small that there's no markings, there's no engraving on the cutter, so you can't tell if you've turned it or not, or where it started. There's no EWT or no model number, so you just have to try and remember. And this one was probably, I changed it out before I did the last sessions to a new cutter, so I'm hoping that this is a fresh edge for you. Now, I may have turned it, and I could be all wrong.
Good. Okay.
We'll find out in just a second.
Just a teeny bit. I saw an idea in an article one day about just having to center your tool, and they've made a little thing that sits in down in the way here. It's exactly centered.
Oh, it's exactly centered?
Yeah, you don't have to work it on your piece. You work it on that. It's already precisely.
Huh.
And you know, you check it and you can go.
Off you go. Interesting.
Yeah, I just happened to think about that. I think it'd be a good idea.
So if you're going to go in from the end, I'll give them the end shot there.
Okay. Yeah, this has got a little bump up on top here. We want to try to get rid of. I don't want to look down and see what the inside might look like.
Good shot of your head.
What, you mean my hair?
Yeah.
It used to be?
Yeah. It's hard to remember.
It was a long time ago. Still just a high. And that's pretty critical that it be centered.
Yeah. If you go very deep with the tool, you may have to actually go above center because the bottom of the tool will start to drag.
Right.
And then it won't cut at all. So, Dad, you've made a lot of bottle stoppers over the years, haven't you?
Yeah, but it was before they came out with the threaded stuff and
all the good toys.
And this kind of deal, you know, you had to use a chunk of wood and turn it in the jaws, and then of course cut it off. But this actually makes it pretty neat.
Pretty simple.
Yeah.
It makes, I mean, quick and easy and fast.
You got that thread that's inserted there, and all the new stoppers come with
the same thread, and you just
that same thread.
pop it right in there.
And they didn't even, actually I started making them before they had threaded stoppers. It was all
just a straight steel shaft.
straight shaft.
Ha.
You had to, and you did your hole right and epoxied it in or whatever.
Now, when I was making stoppers for the craft shows, I was using just a wooden dowel. I was super budget on them, wooden dowel and a synthetic stopper, and just cranking them out and selling them for $8 a piece, but it only took 4 minutes.
In our old turning club at Apple Ridge up on LJ, one of the fellows there, he went to a show in Louisiana, I think, and he could sell all the bottle stoppers he could make.
I remember him talking about selling $600 for the bottle stoppers.
Yeah, At $12 a piece, I think.
Yeah.
I thought, well, why do they buy all? This is nothing special, but nobody else can sell them like that.
Yeah, that's true.
That many, I mean.
I always was a little skeptical of that claim.
Yeah. Well.
But you never know.
So we formed a new club up called the Etowah River Woodturners. The Etowah River runs through Canton and from over to the east. And there wasn't any club in that vicinity.
This is north of Atlanta, right?
That's, yeah, 50 miles north of Atlanta. And we've got over 50 members in 2 years.
That's pretty good.
And mostly from like Woodstock and Canton and Dawsonville and
For places, so you picked up new people that you weren't getting out of North Georgia.
a lot of people that had never turned.
Right. Started
that
to
wanted
join that
to.
club.
Yeah.
But that's good because joining a wood turning club is a great way if you're just getting started. Find a local wood turning club. You can go to the AAW and find all the clubs in the area, and that's a great way to get started because all these people, Dad been turning 40-something years in some fashion.
Yeah, and we've got some guys that are really good.
That do it, all the time, and you'll have some professionals there. And being in a club is a great way to go to get started, and even not just to be started, but just to keep up with something new and get feedback and all that kind of stuff.
And there's a number of them volunteer to mentor. They'll come to your house, or you can come to their place. And we've got 5 or 6 guys that volunteer to mentor.
Right.
Especially for the new people, and that's a great thing. And you'd be surprised how many people that have never turned and would like to that start showing up. And it's seldom, though, any of the younger people, and that's always disappointing.
Yeah.
It's mostly retired or older people that, and we always like see kids show up.
Now I've seen you do something in Jasper for the art center with the kids. You've done several things with the kids.
Yeah, the first we used to do shows to entertain them, and they're fascinated. They're fascinated. Kids are fascinated with watching what you're doing there, and they make requests for, well, can you make this and that, whatever, and this was a little early, this was a little while ago, and one of them says, can you make a minion?
You didn't know what a minion was. And
I looked at him, and I looked over at the lady that ran the thing, and she says, okay, he says, he doesn't know what a minion is. And I didn't. I had no idea what a minion was. But she says, no, he can make you something else, though.
You want to see what that's going to look like?
Yeah, that's kind of what I want.
Let's take this.
I wanted it.
I went and got denatured alcohol for you, and if you can just rub this on there, and I'm gonna go overhead so now that you can see, and then I'll do the end camera too. You'll see just how pretty.
See what I mean about that? Looks like it's something you would eat.
And so when you put a little bit of denatured alcohol on there, and then it even though it hasn't been sanded or anything for just a few seconds, and you can see what that piece, I was on the wrong camera. I was trying to show you the end there. And then we go back overhead, and so you can see what the wood looks like as well. And it doesn't hurt it at all. And you get an idea what the finished piece with finish on it will look like.
And that's pretty much what I wanted there. I wanted to keep the color.
Keep that right there.
Here's the color. And other than that, I'll sand it.
Okay. Well, that's cool. We'll save the sanding for later.
Yeah.
Looks like it's about 1/4 the hour. I do appreciate my dad being out here today, and I appreciate you all joining us with my dad here. And if there's any kind of questions here at the end, we'll take them. And if not, we'll wrap up, and then we'll all go. Mom's in the house there. Yeah, we're having a good time with the family because our Christmas will be just a day or two. And we're probably going to go up the street to the Mexican restaurant where I always go and have some lunch.
Well, that's something else. That's good.
So I do appreciate everybody hanging with us today. I hope you enjoyed what I did with the platter, the little wooden poplar platter. And that'll get finished up someday along the way. And again, thank you for hanging out with me and my dad, Bradley McCalister. It was very much a pleasure and honor to have my dad out here with me today. And I just beside myself. So
If you ever get a chance to come by while he's doing this, you'll get a display of
see who's there?
no, I can't read that.
Martha McCalister Denton.
Really?
That's your sister.
That's my sister.
Hello, Aunt Martha. I got him on camera in front of the world.
I bet you're excited about that, aren't you? You noticed I've gotten older since I see you.
Well, Joe, thank you. Everybody, thank you very much. We're going to wrap this up, and everybody have a good, safe week. I'll be back out here next Monday. Stay tuned. Like I said, I've been on vacation, so I've been a little slack on some of the stuff on the Monday Methods group, but I'll get back into full swing here now. So I'm going to give you an overhead shot one more time of this piece, and then we're going to shut her down and call it good. All righty, let me give you an overhead there. And again, thank you very much. We'll see you next Monday.